said it in the last video, I'll say it again. At least I'm doing it in the same order. Greetings, and welcome to take 2. No, seriously though. Welcome to Shadowstar. Welcome aboard the ISS Dragoon. 50 points if you get the reference. Now, welcome, members of the Federation, the Klingon Defense Force, the Romulan Republic, and the Dominion. I am Ri'shad Yanodo, the over-analytical and hyper-attention to detail renegade, also known as Ri'shad. This is a Star Trek Online Starship Stats Review. Visuals will come later. And I'm kind of glad that this got held off a little bit, because turns out Cryptic was going to let this Intel vessel get the Intel Type 1 and Type 2 hold types, which it wasn't originally available to it. So hey, that's even what you're seeing on screen now. So, allow me to introduce you to my fleet, Cyclone Intel Patrol Escort. And let's note right now, just quickly, that this review video will be done in high detail in several key points. A quick cover of the bundle this ship will come in, as well as being sold individually. Then we take a grasp on its stats, then its extras, with a little bit of extra detail now added into these videos. Won't make it any longer, I'm just a bit of extra better visual. I hope you guys will enjoy that new little ad. Then we'll have a quick glance at customization, and then off we go to see this ship fight before concluding. Now, since we are well over 100 reviews now, and I do have to freshen some things up a bit, I hope you enjoyed the little bit of addition I've now added in without making the videos longer, thankfully. And let her rip. So like I said, I have a hyper attention to detail, and it must be followed through. This is the Starfleet Flashback Bundle. The ship, the Cyclone class, comes with the Auger class and the Just a Car class. I can't stop taking the mick out of its name. I find the name too funny. 3 very good ships for different purposes. But, although I did not say this in the last review I did with the Auger, now it's a fitting time to say it. Where the Auger was the science ship with some tactical capabilities, today, the main ship in question, the Cyclone, is the tactical ship with some science capability. So these two might as well be sister ships to each other. Quite fitting then that they're in this bundle together. A bundle that also includes a 100% off tier 6 ship coupon, 8 ship slots, 7 experimental upgrades, 3 fleet modules, all in all adding up so that you can take these ships, upgrade them to their fleet versions, which I will also be going through those stats, don't worry, and see these ships at full potential. But in the case of this ship today, I'm going to spoiler right now, this is one of those ships where you do want to get the Zen version as well as the fleet. More on that when we get to it. You also get access to the Picard Starfleet 2387 uniform, the next generation weapons, and the title Old School. It's nice to see these next gen weapons in the bundle, but honestly I'm a little bit peeved that they're in the bundle and they are exclusive to the bundle. So if you want next gen gear, sorry guys. Now then, let it not be said that I don't like to give ships a chance. Happily with this ship, I don't even have to try. Okay, sometimes I don't give ships a chance, but that's Cryptic's fault, not mine. This is a tier 6 Federation ship that has a hull modifier of 1 and a shield modifier of 0.87. With 5 forward weapons, 2 aft, a base turn rate of 17, and impulse modifier of 0.8. 0.23, inertia rating of 80, and the pleasant bonus power settings of +15 to weapons and +5 to engines. The ability to equip dual cannons, a battle cloak as this is an Intel ship, the Gather Intel Starfleet mechanic, because, well, Intel ship again, and of course coming with the Starship Mastery package that you would expect, the Escort Mastery package. This ship really does like to fly fast, be agile, and hit hard. Fundamentally though, her vulnerability is in her defense. Once again, just like the Augur, like I said, it's like the Augur and the Cyclone are trading places. Simply, one is scientifically orientated tactical, one is tactically orientated science, and it's quite nice. Now, the make or break of a ship is always how many consoles it can have and its bridge officers. A ship can have decent stats the rest of the part, but if these two main things don't add up to what the rest of this ship can do, it can break it. Well, happily in this situation, is exactly what the ship needs. 5 tactical, 1 engineering, and 4 science for its consoles. The bridge officers are a Lieutenant Commander Universal, an Ensign Science, a Lieutenant Commander Science, a Lieutenant Engineering, and a Commander Tactical. The Lieutenant Engineering and the Commander Tactical both have Intel specialization. Moreover, just like I was saying, this ship is sort of trading its parts to the... well, trading its tactical and its science with the Augur. So too does it do that with its upgrades when you make it a fleet. Just like the Augur, this ship gains 1 extra engineering console slot, making it a 524 instead of a 514. Or if we were going to talk about this with the stats, because I know some people like it said as what you see on screen, it would be a 245. Yeah, get confused with that. Hey, Cryptic, your blog posts, could you do it in the engineering science tactical order rather than your tactical engineering science order? Thank you. As for hull and shield modifier, when you upgrade the fleet, that becomes 1.1 and 0.95 respectively. Still soft, but able to take a bit of a punch. The fundamental issue for this ship is it is a bit of a glass cannon. The upside to it though is that with that vulnerability in defense, it more than makes up for it in its ability to be fast and also hybrid DPS. I would never rank it too highly as a tank. I'm not going to. My score for it as a tank is 3 out of 10. End of. As an escort, it doesn't really need to be any higher. But as a support vessel, and in support roles with its potential for science, which it has some potential in, I will give it, we can see this ship getting a little bit higher. As a result, I will give this ship as a support run and just overall support 6 out of 10. And then we go to DPS. Oh yeah! So, just fundamentally speaking, although it's not amazing when it comes to kinetics, that would make it require it to be a command ship, it does overall do all DPS brilliantly, but it really shines with surgical strikes and cannon scalar volley, resulting in me giving this ship a lovely score of 9 out of 10 for DPS. Frankly, I'm in awe of the ship. Really happy with what we're getting here, and personally I would have said this is the best ship that you're getting from the whole lot if it wasn't for a later one I did that then suddenly shattered what I was expecting to see. Hell, I even tried to translate component parts across to get as close to an equal build between the two as I could with the obvious fundamental differences and the one I wasn't expecting turned out to hit harder. Yeah, more on that when we get to that review, eh? Justice. So, I'm not saying this ship isn't amazing. I'm just saying don't count the rest of the ships in the bundle out. With that being said then, let's take a look at this ship's better aspects. And boy, when I say better aspects, this is why I say get this ship. You know, it's funny. Type 7A hull armor doesn't quite look right when you're in Deep Space Nine. Something to do with the shadowing, I think, or the lighting. It looks more plasticky. Really annoying, that. Oh, that's not what we're talking about right now. No, we want to talk about this, and like I said, a bit more flair. Because hey, no point in just talking about it, might as well show you it. First up, we have the experimental weapon. And boy, is it beautiful. Oh, sorry, don't forget this as well. It's important to know the stats, and I can't just tell you them. The gold type psionic resonator. In my case, Mark 15. Why? Because I went and upgraded it. Now, to something else in a second, let's actually focus on the weapon itself. It deals psionic damage and has heavy flanking damage. A 250 degree attacking weapon with 7,678.7 psionic damage. Also depending on any buffs. And of course, that means be aware that these stats may differ from one person to another. In addition, you gain an additional over 10,000 psionic damage for flanking attacks. Note, this is literally just you have to be attacking the rear, so quite easy to do with something else involved on this ship. Other side benefits to this weapon? Well, let me put it this way. Although it's very average for its damage output, I will note that when utilized efficiently, correctly, you will find this begins to really pull off some absolutely amazing feats. Specifically, if you equip this experimental weapon off of our lovely Escort and attach it to something like a Raider. Because that psionic damage and that bonus or additional, should I say, the additional flanking psionic damage, both of those get buffed if you are in flanking position with a ship that benefits from flanking attacks. Cloaking ambush will boost both. Do you see where this is going? Use this on the right ship, and this weapon goes from average to extremely hard hitting, with one fundamental weakness, which does require me now to go and snap back to this screen. Why are we snapping back to this screen? Simple. If I try re-engineering this, you'll notice that you cannot re-engineer out the critical damage. You can only re-engineer the crit X and the epic level modifier. Great. There's a distinctive part of a problem with this. When I initially got this ship, that accuracy damage was damage. So be wary. This weapon is a little bit buggy at the moment. Just make sure it's slotted properly and showing the correct modifiers when you go to use it. Hopefully Cryptic will realise that was a bit mean and give you guys the ability to also modify these out to be damage, crit hit, or whichever you really prefer in the near future. Then again, this weapon doesn't overly need buffing if you consider that it's already very powerful for any kind of raider or intel vessel. Now there was something else I wanted to note there. What was it? The other thing I needed to add for the experimental weapon, kind of half forgot this, so I'm going to add it back in the correct place, but I'm saying this a little later. Sorry if I repeat myself a little bit here. This, what you're seeing here, is me running infected, and of course that means I didn't really use the gold type psionic resonator at full effectiveness. And we can kind of see it. I'm using it averagely, it's putting an average output. It's doing okay. What you'd expect from its stats. But then, we take this, we go into 9th rule, whoopsie daisy, that is something else. And, well, it changes. Because I can get myself in the flanking position, I can hold it in flanking position, and I can really see what this weapon can do. And it's a decent sizable step up, exactly what you'd expect from that percentage increase. And as a result, I have to say, I kind of wish I was flying a bit better, because I did that run quite poorly as well, resulting in me not getting the absolute peak I could out of this gold type psionic while using flanking, yet it still did that well. I also wasn't using at the time more traits to effectively increase its output. I wish I didn't clean up my combat log, because I'll have had another one to show you, and that one was nice. I threw the gold type onto a raider and just took it for a run. Hope you'll take my word for it. Did really well. But there's something that makes it better. Right now, what you're seeing is the Universal Console Sensor Phantom Projector. The console you get with this ship. And it has the very pleasant passives of plus 25.6% bonus direct energy damage when attacking an enemy's rear arc. When attacking an enemy's rear arc. Or plus 153.9% bonus direct energy damage when attacking an enemy's rear arc while this console is active. Now, initially, that passive doesn't sound easy to use. The problem is, the console makes its second passive really easy to set up. Then the third passive of this console is plus 8% to critical severity. Sort of from that point, what is the active ability? With a 180-degree targeting arc, you will create a Sensor Phantom, as you've already been seeing on screen. The Sensor Phantom itself has an initial practice. If you are in a Pacific range, and bearing in mind you have to be within 10 kilometers to set this off, so you are always in Pacific range, the Sensor Phantom will jump. A very quick jump away from you to get a Pacific distance. It will then begin to maneuver around, and it will sense the AI works with your movement. If you keep moving forwards, albeit not at full speed, the Sensor Phantom will also proceed in the same direction you're heading in to try and keep the enemies following it. Because the active ability of this console, the Sensor Phantom will taunt and draw the foes towards it, causing them to turn and fire at the Sensor Phantom instead. Now, this is not perfect. They will still fire upon you with the right triggers in place, but the Phantom does maintain the dominant level of threat generation, and it will always position itself in a way, from what I've been practicing with it, that will allow you to normally position yourself on the flanking arc of most of the enemies following it. What does that mean? Well, not only do you attack the enemy's rear arc, which is this console's first passive, not only do you gain the second passive because the console is now active, and you are attacking the enemy's rear arc because they're following it. But then we go back to the experimental weapon, which gains bonus damage from attacking an enemy and flanking the rear arc. And as a result, you have a huge boost in power. Add this console onto an Raider, and it actually starts to make me wonder why the Cyclone Intel Escort, the Cyclone Intel Patrol Escort, whatever you want to name it, because it seems to have both names. Why on earth was this ship not a Raider? If this ship was a Raider, its own console and experimental weapon would be lethal upon it, and the ship would be miles higher scoring. But because this ship brings that to the other Raiders you may already have, if you are a DPS player, which if you're a DPS player, I imagine you do have 1 or 2 Raiders. This ship's just going to make you stronger, and hell, it's a DPS suitable ship, so it doesn't matter anyway. Even if it's not, you'd even get use out of it just for itself as a DPS player. This whole ship is in harmony. Seriously, you do not get much better than that when it comes to these starships. Seldom do you have such a good harmony of extras. If you're only interested in one ship in the bundle, I hope it's this one. Now then, how about its trait? Because already you can tell I'm clearly hyped for the console, for the experimental weapon. I haven't even told you how I score them. There's a reason for that. Here's its trait. Now I did say, right, that this is a ship you definitely want to grab the Zen version of. When activating a specialist bridge officer ability for the first time on a map, or any further abilities of the same specialization, triggers an additional effect based on your starship specialization. Which effect depends on the specialization used. I do love this aspect. Do you know how powerful this is? It is 100% guaranteed to activate. It will last for 7 seconds. Keep in mind recharge time and bridge officer abilities and how quickly you can turn over, say, an intel ability on and on and on. And then think to yourself, with each specialization, what does each specialization do really well, and what would it really benefit from getting out of a trait? Would it happen to be command getting an increase in damage output, since command is really good for kinetic builds? Well then that's quite funny, because if you're using command abilities, you get a plus 40% increase to damage and a plus 20% to your whole capacity. Oh yeah, commands are also quite good at enduring and tanking. Well, that was interesting. Straight away. Command abilities, get what commands need. Intel. Get a plus 20% to increase damage. Intel's quite good at damage output. That's kind of disappointing. Hang on, plus 60% to bonus flanking damage when using Intel. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Wait a second. All Intel ships are good at cloaking. Hell, throw this one on a Raider again. An Intel Raider. And, wait, what? Hell, throw this trait on this ship. If you must. I think I will. Yeah, I totally didn't do that on purpose. It is highly effective, and I love that. Temple Ops, you get a plus 20% increase to damage. I wonder where that's coming from. And a plus 50 to Starship exotic particle generations. What is Temple really good at? Why do we like it when site ships also are Temple ships? Oh right, because they're great at EPG. Miracle Worker, excellent at energy damage. Miracle Worker ships are some of the best ships you can use if you're an energy DPS player. Plus 20% increase to damage and minus 35% to weapon power cost. Pilots, plus 40% increase to damage and plus 5 to currents and stacking max engine power. Am I happy? Yes. Look, we've had some traits recently. They're all doing the same sort of thing. The Blasted Augur had Temporal Investigator. The Just A car has the one Specialist Gear. The Theseus class had the Ship of Theseus trait. The Theseus class is a down super expensive lockbox ship. Yeah, it costs you 300 quid to get that one, and that trait is average at best. Those three other ones that are all the same thing, based on your specialization, giving you a specialization based boost, they all hit mediocre. I would average if I want to be nice. But this one does it exactly how it's meant to be done. Adaptive tactical algorithm. It ain't going to be a new meta trait, but if you are budget building, if you are someone who's working to build a new build and wants a trait that will work on any build style, because it really will work on any build style, I strongly advise getting the ship for the trait. This is a trait to use. So my score, when it comes to experimental weapon, console, and trait, is 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Guys, in this bundle, this ship makes it. Spoiler warning, this ship is going to get an incredibly good score at the end. So let's have a look at this ship in customization. And you know, I'm not going to do a cut and skip over to it. I'm going to talk to you right now for it. Let me be blunt. This is a ship that, quite frankly, I've never liked the look of. Not the lineage of ships at all. There's little bits I like on each one, but overall, can't stand them, including the tier 5 version, and yet there's a tier 5 version. Honestly, I was also really disappointed when I saw initially that this ship wasn't going to get what the previous versions have. Actually, I'll quickly dart at that. Just do it quick because I can. There you go, Tempest, it's right here, ready for you. The ship itself and its tier 4 versions that you could get as a Vice Admiral have a lovely little special weapon. As you're noticing down here, it's listed as a 4-3 4-star on aft. This is because this ship had a very special rear weapon. The fused off-firing Tempest Tail Gun. Now, it wasn't a super game changer or anything like that, but it made this ship so very strong. And when we had only tier 5 ships, this was one of those ships which was definitely worth picking up, purely because as a tier 5 vessel, it was quite powerful. And it held up even into the first set of tier 6 ships. This ship held up. A lot of it down to that Tempest Tail Gun. Obviously, I don't have the ship. I know some of you are noticing that. It might have something to do with the fact that as I came along to play, Tier 5 was just going out the window, and I wasn't quite playing enough at that time to be willing to spend money on the game. The very first time I ever spent money on the game was for a Tier 6 ship, the Intel ships. So, I am disappointed that that was dropped from it. But the carryover, the caveat is the fact that I can understand why. If they kept that on this ship, well then every Escort that had to come out after this would have to start having similar. Purely because you'd get the same situation they had with those Tier 5s. They'd just be outmatched. Well, on a degree at least. Now, customization wise for this ship is quite good. Along with the Cyclone and its now advantage of using intelligence and intelligence type 2. You also have the fleet, should you get the fleet version, Defiant, Intrepid, Mirror, Galaxy, NX, NX refit, Odyssey, Sovereign, Sovereign refit, Type 0 for the laugh. Type 7 if you like that classic one. I'm so glad they brought that back. Type 5 should I say. Type 7, Type 7A, Type 8, Type 8B, Type 6 if you like the old Tier 5 hull. Honestly, the ship gets to look amazing, and I'm not gonna lie, I am a fan. It's growing on me. Considering when this started off, hello Maelstrom, pretty sure you're the fleet version. Maelstrom, kind of like the saucer and a bit of the deflector. Yeah. Tempest, I like the saucer. Hermes, kind of like the saucer again. Rest, Devilish, I like the nacelles. Griffin, I liked the nacelles. Cyclone, you know, I will admit I started off with the same thing. Oh, I don't really like it. But it is growing on me. Over time, it's growing on me. The biggest thing is purely because none of the other ships have any detail underneath. And then I saw the Cyclone had lots of detail. And I'm like, oh, I just like that. And there is actually a fair amount of detail under the ship. And a fair amount of customization you can do. If you really want to, you can take away the bit that I hate the most. That center pylon. And that basically saves the ship in my aspect. I really like the way it looks now. Just feel like the edge of the saucer is a little bit too slim. Or would have liked a bit more bulk to the back of the saucer. But that's neither here nor there. Actually, if I'm honest, I would just like to hang a bay on the back of the saucer. Done a bit like they do on the Miranda class. But yeah, this is growing on me. Still doesn't compete with the Shepherd, the Gargaren, the NX, the Sovereign, and that sort of Starship design lineage. But as someone who has always been a fan of the Akira, you would have thought I'd like the design of these a lot more, and I never did. So it's nice that this is growing on me, and I do like the fact that you have the freedom and customization to have some real fun with this ship. I mean, you can end up with some really interesting looks, I'll give it that. Well, okay, shush now, me. The one thing you really want to see from this ship is it in action. Trust me. So, here we go. Enjoy.
Can't contain it. We're changing lives. quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Feed like a disease, bring them to their knees. They'll pay for their deceit. Bleed just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we want retribution. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. They'll pay for their deceit. Breathe just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
So let's conclude, okay? Simple bit. Because after that run that I hope you enjoyed, I came out with a fairly average score for myself. Not my best, not worst. She did really well, considering I don't feel like I flew that very well. And to be honest, whenever I do one of these passes and I fly it with just randomers, I never do very well at all. I only tend to do decently if I'm flying with certain types. But for an advanced infected run, I'm quite proud of the output. I'm quite proud of the ship. And honestly, it means this, to me, this ship makes the bundle. If you're interested in this ship and one other, then it's well worth picking up the bundle, simply because this ship's one of them. If you're not interested in this ship, I'm guessing you're not a DPS player. And that's fine if you're not. Completely fine, each to their own. I'm not really a DPS, I'm a support player. I just happen to like meddling with DPS. Hence why my DPS is average. This ship is a beauty, a masterpiece of harmony. It does everything it should do just right. And I love the fact that it takes a science step as well. The sister ship to the Argo class. And honestly, if I could only get one ship from the bundle, this is the one I'd pick up. The most to gain. Seriously guys, final score on this ship. I've already given you a rough idea where things is going. This ship gets 10 out of 10. I don't get to say that very often. To achieve a 10 out of 10 from me, you have to hit certain criteria. And normally what makes it impossible for almost every ship, this ship hit those criteria. 10 out of 10. Absolutely love this ship. And originally I was downscoring it because I didn't like the way it looked. So you can tell that's changed. Guys, I strongly advise this ship to anyone who is support or DPS. Anyone who runs science and wants to dip your feet into the tactical field of things. This is a great ship to go with. Tanks, you're the only ones that don't recommend it to. But even then actually, you might want it for its console trait, so maybe not on the ship, but there might still be a reason to pick it up. I would love to see in the comment section what you guys think of this ship. I always look forward to reading the comments. It's some of the best part of doing these videos. Can I just say a massive thank you to people creating on screen right now for the generosity and support you've shown this channel and helping to make this possible. Guys, if you appreciate what I do, then I hope you'll consider hitting the like button to help this channel out and help the video out, maybe even sharing it. If you found the video useful, then it's done its job. And if you want to help me out a little bit further, like the people credited on screen have done, the links are in the description. Oh, don't need to subscribe to anything. Buy me a cup of tea. It makes a difference. Guys, thank you for watching. Again, thank you to the people credited on screen, because they are the ones that make this possible. And I hope to see you all, maybe as part of the Shadow Star fleet in the future, after you subscribe. May Warrior's fortune be with you. Live long and prosper, my friends.